email saying, no, he's not employed by us. So you have got just this gyration.
The manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost breaking.
So here's the tea, and trust us, this is one you don't want to miss. Imagine being at the center of multiple federal investigations, dealing with bankruptcy fraud, and still somehow holding onto your job as if nothing's happening. Well, that's exactly where Keith Freeman, the senior aide to South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard, finds himself. And if you thought that was messy, wait until you hear about all the juicy details surrounding him and his boss, who's no stranger to controversy either. So grab your popcorn, because this one's going to be wild.
Several new developments in South Suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
Keith Freeman, Tiffany Henyard's right-hand man, is in hot water right now, facing federal charges for bankruptcy fraud. And this isn't just a little oopsie where someone accidentally forgot to file a document. Oh no, we're talking about hiding assets, lying about his income, and misleading creditors serious stuff. Freeman, who was once an untouchable figure in Dolton and Thornton Township, is now standing in court, pleading not guilty to these charges. But here's the kicker. This isn't his first rodeo when it comes to legal issues. In fact, Freeman's been on this messy train for a long time, and it seems like his past is finally catching up with him.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
Now, for those of you wondering who Keith Freeman is, let's rewind a bit. Freeman's been a close ally to Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who herself has been labeled as one of the most controversial figures in the South Suburbs. Freeman wasn't just anyone in her administration. He held key positions as the village administrator of Dolton and the municipality manager of Thornton Township, where he had a hand in a lot of what went down behind the scenes. And if that wasn't enough, he was also connected to Henyard's cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation. Now, this foundation claims to help cancer patients, but we'll get to why that's another whole can of worms in just a bit.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You do that.
Freeman's troubles blew up when federal prosecutors came knocking on his door. They're accusing him of underreporting his income in a bankruptcy filing, making false statements, and hiding assets. You know, the usual stuff that gets you in serious trouble with the feds. Apparently, he claimed his income was a measly amount compared to what he was actually making. In reality, Freeman was pulling in almost twice as much through his work in both Dolton and Thornton Township. But he conveniently forgot to mention that in his bankruptcy papers. Oops, it gets worse. He also reportedly provided a fake tax return to make it look like his income was much lower than it actually was. That's a bold move, but obviously it didn't go unnoticed.
Coming in, I mean, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, yep, just some accountability.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. This guy wasn't just making these moves on his own. He was deeply tied to Tiffany Henyard's political web. Freeman's been Henyard's confidant and, for a while, seemed like her most loyal supporter. In fact, they were so tight that many people saw Freeman as an extension of Henyard's power. He was there for all the big decisions, always sitting by her side during meetings, and running major parts of both Dolton and Thornton Township. But the real question is, will he stay loyal now that the feds are circling?
Hey guys, it's the Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Supervisor.
And let's not pretend Henyard's some innocent bystander in all of this. Oh no, she's got her own pile of legal troubles that she's been juggling for quite some time. From accusations of financial mismanagement to shady dealings involving her cancer charity, Henyard's got a laundry list of issues that could bring her political career crashing down. So Freeman's indictment might just be the beginning of the end for both of them. The relationship between Freeman and Henyard goes back years, and it's clear they've been through a lot together. But this latest scandal is putting their alliance to the test. There's growing speculation that Freeman could be pressured into cooperating with federal investigators, meaning he might spill the beans on whatever he knows about Henyard's own dealings to save himself. And honestly, who could blame him? With federal charges hanging over his head, it wouldn't be surprising if he decided to throw Henyard under the bus to get a lighter sentence.
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Now, let's get into the heart of Freeman's bankruptcy fraud case, because it's not just about him being a little sneaky with his finances. The indictment reveals a pattern of deception that goes back to his time as the village administrator of Robbins. Apparently, while he was working there, Freeman was accused of pocketing more money than he was authorized. Robbins claimed he took about $9,000 more than he was entitled to, but instead of clearing things up, Freeman just let that situation simmer in the background. Combine that with the current bankruptcy fraud charges, and you've got yourself a perfect storm of legal problems.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
But the juiciest part of this whole situation, the timing. Freeman's indictment comes just as Mayor Henyard herself is facing mounting pressure over her lavish spending, questionable trips, and retaliation against her critics. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck. Both Freeman and Henyard are caught in their own scandals. and it's only a matter of time before everything unravels.
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor,
Tiffany Henyard, for those who don't know, has been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. She's been accused of spending taxpayers' money on extravagant events, like throwing a party that cost over $85,000, featuring some high-profile performers, all while the village is drowning in debt. And this wasn't some secret party. People saw what was going on and started asking questions. But instead of addressing the concerns head-on, Henyard has doubled down, saying she's being unfairly targeted because she's the first Black female mayor of Dolton.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
Now, no one's denying the historical significance of her position, but it's hard to ignore the constant cloud of controversy surrounding her administration. Let's not forget her infamous trip to Las Vegas, where a trustee is accused of inappropriate behavior, and Henyard allegedly tried to sweep it under the rug. It's scandals on top of scandals, and Freeman's legal troubles only add more fuel to the fire. What's also wild is that Freeman wasn't just working for Dolton and Thornton Township, he was also involved with Henyard's charity, the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation. This foundation claims to help cancer patients, but there's been little transparency about where the money's going. Freeman was even listed as the registered agent for the foundation, which raises a lot of eyebrows considering he's now facing charges for financial mismanagement. It makes you wonder if this guy couldn't handle his own finances, what was really happening with the foundation's funds. At this point, it's impossible not to think that Freeman could end up being the key to bringing Henyard down. He's been involved in so many aspects of her administration that if he decides to cooperate with investigators, he could reveal things that would blow this entire situation wide open. And if that happens, it's game over for Henyard.
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
But the drama doesn't stop there. Freeman's firing from Thornton Township wasn't just about his legal issues, it was also a political move. There's been a growing rift between Henyard and the township's leadership, and Freeman's dismissal signals that they're trying to distance themselves from him and, by extension, Henyard. It's like watching rats jump off a sinking ship. Henyard's power is slipping, and the people who once stood by her are starting to turn their backs. And let's talk about the lawsuits, on top of everything else. Freeman and Henyard are also facing a lawsuit from a local property owner who claims he was denied a business license because Henyard had her own plans for the land. The property owner alleges that Freeman gave him the green light to move forward with his project, only for Henyard to block it later. It's just another example of the power plays happening behind the scenes, and it paints a pretty ugly picture of how things are run in Dolton.
The legal appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
At this point, you've got to ask yourself, how is Henyard still in power? With all these allegations swirling around her and Freeman, you'd think someone would step in. And that's exactly what people are asking. One fan commented, how come she's still in that position with all these allegations? I don't they have somebody to step in until this is resolved? And what's taking the FBI so long with all of this evidence? It's a fair question, and one that doesn't have an easy answer. The legal process takes time, but in the meantime, the residents of Dolton are left watching this circus unfold, wondering if their village will ever recover from the damage done by Henyard's administration. Freeman's downfall might just be the first domino to fall, but there's no telling how many more will come crashing down in the coming months. The other side of this is the fan reactions, which are honestly some of the best commentary you'll find on this whole mess. One fan hilariously commented, "I keep telling everyone, that's just Lil Wayne with makeup and a wig." And honestly, it's comments like these that show just how tired people are of Henyard's antics. The public isn't buying the excuses anymore, and the pressure is building for her to finally face the music. As the lawsuits pile up, federal investigations ramp up, and Freeman's trial looms, it's hard to imagine a future where Henyard can continue to hold onto her position. The walls are closing in, and sooner or later, something's got to give. The residents of Dolton deserve answers, and they deserve leaders who aren't constantly caught up in scandals. Whether Freeman cooperates with investigators or not, this situation is far from over. So what do you think? Will Freeman flip on Henyard to save himself? Will Henyard's political career survive yet another scandal? Or is this finally the beginning of the end for one of the most controversial administrations the South Suburbs has ever seen? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Stay tuned.